social sexual's got the entertainment, it's got the youthfulness, and then social self-pres is like, what are we doing for social order?
Yeah, like I only want people that I can like bare my soul to, that I can like
Yes.
cry to, that will hold all the precious parts of me. And if it's not that, I'm like, what's the point?
It's like I offered you a drug and we had something together, right? Like David, you said, like the inebriated version of you. I don't understand what you're doing over there in that dirt hole, but like I'm up here,
The big hormone enneagram.
Hi, I'm John Lukovich, sexual self-pres 4-5 wing 458 trifix.
Hi, I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual 9-1 974 trifix.
What up? It's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing-7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I am a self-pres social 3, wing 4, with a 369 trifix. If you like our podcast, guys, make sure you go like and subscribe on the Apple Podcast app. And if you really like us, you should definitely leave us a review.
We are recording from our usual recording space, the same bed we're all sharing, and we are back with the Bhavachakra journey of the instinctual stackings. And I want to plug once again David's Trifix booklet guide that he made that I did the intro for, and then Emeka and I are going to be both featured on the Enneagram Global Summit doing different
that's right.
things. And so in a future episode, we'll have the links for you to follow to sign up. And then if you sign up through our links, we might get a meager sum of money. So please do that when we have those available for you. That'll be in December, I think. Those are airing in December.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Late November to early December.
Look for the Trifix booklet on Enneagrammer.com on the products page.
If you don't know the Bhavachakra, go back to a couple episodes ago when we did the self-pres stackings, did the sexual stackings, and now we're with the repugnant social stackings. And we've brought on special guests, Alexandra and Joseph. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Repugnant, you say?
What?
Yeah. Highly.
I'm okay with that.
We saved the worst for last.
I'm not okay with that. This is going to be a fun hour and a half.
Can we do have them, Alexandra and Joseph, do what their types are?
Yeah. Go ahead. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, and Alexandra, you should mention your Angry Enneagram 9 thing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Emeka, do you have that recording that we did? Can you just do that?
No, you have to talk. You have to talk now.
Come on, 9.
That was a one-time deal, okay?
But it was so good. Okay. All right. Okay. Wait, what am I doing?
Who are you? What's your type?
Where are you?
Your name, your type, and where people can find you.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra. I'm a social self-pres 9 with a 1 wing, and I have 6 and 3 fixes. In past episode, I referenced an Instagram page that I have. It's at Enneagram 9, Angry Enneagram 9. Again, at Angry Enneagram 9. And through that account, I've been offering astrology readings where I look at your chart and relate it to your type and give you a write-up. It's been going pretty well. We've all been learning a lot together. So check that out.
We also, Alexandra, I'm doing live streams there.
Oh, yeah. All right, Joseph.
Oh, me? Okay. Hi, I'm Joseph. I'm a social sexual 4-wing 3 with a 6-wing 7 and 1-wing 2 fixes.
Where
you're
people can find
the
you.
master of Anygrammer.com. And you're a
and
Dark Arts
the Dark
Academy
Arts.
Dark Arts
instructor.
Academy.
Actually, a wizard from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Okay. If you haven't yet, you can check out the Dark Arts Academy videos on Enneagrammer.com, where we type celebrities once a week. They are really engaging and fun. And I can't. Vomit is in my throat. Is that good?
Yeah, that's great. That's
Perfect. Great.
That's
Okay.
enough. So yeah.
Keep that last bit in too.
Yeah, please do.
I will.
Vomit is in my throat. You should just open it with just that soundbite.
right. Well,
So David generally sets up his Bhavachakra inside space.
Bullshit.
Either the bullshit about either stacking, and then everybody jumps in to try to like make sense of what the difference is.
It's
and-
bullshit.
Yeah,
But this is just bullshit. So I mean,
Yeah, doesn't
we
it's not
already
real.
established that. Yeah. Okay, so in the Bhavachakra of the 6 realms that correlate with the instinctual stackings, the 2 that are the social dominants are what's called the human realm, and the other one is called the asuras or titans, and that one's social self-pres. The human realm is social, correlates with social sexual. So why does that make sense that the human realm is the social sexual realm? So I actually took some notes and did some homework for the very first time.
Wow, we.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Almost
Whoa.
100
David.
episodes in.
Yeah, it took me 100 episodes.
It took a
No.
year plus for him to do any work.
Nines are kind of slow,
You don't
he was
say.
just getting. He was
Getting
just
warmed
getting
up.
the lay of the land.
Yeah, he had to warm up. Yeah.
for 50 years.
Muscle.
Yeah,
Now,
50 plus.
50 years.
One scrap of homework. Just a few morsels.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Okay, so social sexual and the human realm, why does that even make any sense at all? So part of what I'm saying there is that, like with social sexual, there's a certain emphasis on personality itself, and that comes up in the aesthetics of social sexuals and the general sort of emphasis. It's kind of the attraction of personality and that kind of thing. And it also, the self-preservation lastness piece of that is symbolized in kind of the ungroundedness, let's say, of the personality in the deeper self, right? So let's see, let's read some actual notes. Also, social sexual represents like the fecundity of the different personality types, right? So, and that's kind of interesting. So, if you added up, multiplied, whatever the word is, I don't know math, the different personality possibilities with the Enneagram, with all the 6 stackings, the 9 types, and then 18 subtypes if you do wings, and then 27 trifixes. You've got, whatever that is, 500 or 1,000 different personality types, so to speak. So that's kind of sexual here representing that fecundity of personality, and social is, I'm kind of using social as representing personality in the first place. Like part of like John, your research, you were mortified to learn just how social human beings are, and they're
Yes.
It's rather unfortunate, really.
yeah,
Traumatized.
and yeah, and like there's only, I think in that guy E.O. Wilson, the father of sociobiology, called humans, I think he said it in the book, eusocial, which is EU social, which is, there's only a few creatures on the planet that are as social as human beings are. So, because we're just incredibly social creatures. And so, also here around personality and social sexual and the human realm is that we're all, taken in by our own personality and other people's personality. So again, I'm using sexual as a metaphor for being taken by personality, and again being simultaneously quasi self-pres blind, in the sense of not being grounded in the deeper self. Let's see, how did I say it? I found a good way to say it somewhere in my notes.
You're so cute when you try.
First time David's been cute.
You don't talk to him on the phone as much as I do.
Oh, David's a
Uh,
9. He's always cute.
Yeah, little baby
oh.
cheek to just want to pinch him.
um,
For God's sake.
Joseph, please bring some negativity. Let's see.
It's
We're
here
appreciating David's
anytime.
personality here.
So let's see. I'm probably gonna repeat, but we all get hijacked by the personality and don't see the underlying mechanism of it. Okay, so there's a quote about this human realm from some Buddhist text, and it goes something like this. The human realm is marked by questioning and curiosity. It is also a realm of passion. So that brings in Enneagram uh, nomenclature the passions. Human beings strive, consume, acquire, enjoy, explore. Here, the Dharma is openly available, yet only a few seek it. And the Dharma is like the basic underlying principles in Buddhism of human existence and cosmic order, which could be seen by us as alluding to the Enneagram. So again, this is a way that the personality is taken is overtakes us and we don't see like its underlying structure. And again, that's a kind of pseudo self-pres because self-pres is structure. So again, I'm just trying to make sense of why this realm correlates with the human realm. And also there's a thing with social sexual, it shows up like we've talked about in the collages and the aesthetics where there's kind of like a glorification of the shine aspect of like royalty,
Mm,
and which represents a kind of peak or glorified personality. To be a king or queen would be like peak personality space. So to be a human or in the human realm is to deify personality, which is what humans do
mm,
unconsciously. It's to put personality on a pedestal and be distracted from real grounding in the self due to the preeminence we give to our personality.
mm,
So that's the basic reason why that one makes sense to me. And there's more to it. There's more riffing that can be done, but that's the general reason why that makes sense to me for that one. And then the other realm is the social self-pres. One thing first before I say that is that in the Bhavachakra, said it in one of the other episodes, there are three stackings that are kind of in what you'd call the nether world. They're in the lower three segments of this six segmented ring, and then the two social stackings are on the right and left in the upper part, and that relates into my conception of the um, elements related to the instincts, wherein
mm,
air is the social element, and air gets you into sky, which gets you into sun and sunlight. So it makes sense that the two social stackings are above ground and not in the nether world.
mm, mhm,
So that's kind of interesting. And then, so like social self-pres is usually on the right-hand side, and then on to its opposite on the other side is social sexual. And there's to me a symbolism there. The classical sort of symbolism of the left side being feminine and the right being masculine.
mm,
In that social sexual, as I said, is sort of being taken by personality using the sexual metaphor, and social self-pres is well, it's partly the superego, maybe side
mhm,
of personality where there's a also a going to battle kind of quality, like in the depictions of the Bhava Chakra, that realm, you always see archers and arrows and swords and things like that. So it represents that kind of battle for moral rightness, and it's got self-pres in there in that stacking. So there's this firmness in being right, and firmness in ideas, around morality and social conduct, and what is civilized, and so on and so forth. And it's also, the realm of ideology, social self-pres is. And like we say, the old saying, something like, don't bring up politics or religion at the dinner table. And that's because it's going to be what brings out the fighting in us. It's going to bring out the sword. So again, like that right hand side is the masculine side. It's the right arm. It's the hand of the sword. So anyway, that's the quick overview there on the two social stackings in the Bhavachakra.
That's great.
That's great.
And I think we didn't say it, but we said it in a previous recording, but that these represent hells or qualities of suffering. Like, even if they're not apparent hells, they're all ways that in the Bhava Chakra that samsara manifests. And
Right.
that these are ways we become poisoned. 3 poisons that represent the 3 instincts in the center of the symbol. Our particular flavor of poison that we are addicted to, that we don't see as poison.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that social sexual is the realm of being taken by personality. And one thing that I've noticed with people who are of that stacking is the awareness of personality as an attraction tool, like you're a brand or what you represent. Like we were talking last week when Beth was sharing how the thing that separates sexual social from sexual self-pres is the idea of personality as a way to attract, and like your genre. And one thing I see with social sexual is that sort of social pop culture attractive, cool persona that people develop, which is full of bling and like hanging with the cool crowd and parties. It's really frivolous, and which just gets at that. It's not going anywhere. It's just fun, cool kind of explosion of that's attractive, but doesn't necessarily have any. Yeah, reality TV show doesn't really have a purpose beyond the fact that it's interesting.
And conversely to social self-pres, it's like what you're saying is it's not building civilization.
Just a good time for this weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
We're done.
I guess.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
We're done. Do our social types have anything to say?
Well, there was a lot. David's like spirited introduction gave a lot of information. I don't know what to say. I have some thoughts. There are some things that were popping up in my head.
Yeah,
let's
go
hear
for it. Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned some. I mean, this is just random riffing. I don't know if I don't know where you guys want to go.
Riff.
Okay.
That's all we do is riff here. We don't have a direction.
Okay. That's great.
That's stressful.
Okay. No, well, you were saying some stuff about the ungroundedness of, and I can't really speak to sexual social, but the ungroundedness of social sexual. One of the things that, yeah, like the party thing. One of the things I've had to come to terms with that is that like I'm sort of always this stacking feels like, okay, mom and dad are out, so like we can have a party for this long, and like we have to make sure, like it's just like, what are we gonna do, like, you know what I mean, nobody's watching, like there's no such thing as responsibility, and then mom and dad eventually kind of come home and you're like, oh, I don't have any money, or like I hurt myself, or I'm starving, or what, or it's not even starving, like I'm hungry, and I had absolutely no, like every time I'm hungry,
defrost
I'm like,
the chicken.
I didn't defrost the chicken. I've never defrosted chicken. And when I do defrost it, it sits in the fridge for 3 days, and then I throw in the fucking garbage. So it's like I didn't spend any time thinking about like resources at all. And so now the party's over, and I'm just like, oh God, like when can I get back to the way I used to live, which is like, mom and dad were out. It does sort of feel like that, and I'm not a 7, so it's even as like a negative type, it does feel like, yeah, life is supposed to be a party. That kind of self-pres grounding, that sense of responsibility. Another thing I was going to say, again, just sort of random riffing, is I thought this is sort of basic, but when I realized I was social sexual years ago, I remember thinking, and I thought about this during the pandemic too. Those two instincts are sort of very directly involved with like other people in some way. They're very much, and you need people in order to kind of do your thing. And there's something about self-pres that's like, I don't actually need like people who are self-pres dom. I sort of get the sense from them that they're like, you know what, if everybody disappeared, I'd be okay. It's almost like they're preparing for that. Like it's fine. Like I have my canned foods and my boat, and like I'd live. Like it's fine. Whereas I'm like, if people disappear, I'm nothing. I'm like a wire that's just like been snipped and the signal's still sparking out of it, and there's nothing for it to do.
That again reiterates the human realm.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's what
I often spend my time thinking that if everybody disappeared, how fine would I be?
Right, and there's sort of a self-pres thing to be like it's a sense of like, how fit am I to withstand anything, whatever it may be. Whereas I'm like, I don't care, or like I don't know. I'm not really thinking. I don't ever think about what would like. So in the pandemic, when I was like, I actually need to just sit in this house alone, and I need to cook for myself and whatever, it was absolute shock, and it was just like, oh my god, when's this party going to start again? Do you know what I mean? Like all I'm doing is thinking about self-pres. I'm thinking about disease, and all I have time to do is like, it's not even like I can be like, oh whatever, like I'll just like go out for dinner, who cares? I can't even fucking go out for dinner. All I can do is sit here and think about like recipes and cooking, and I just like wanted to slit my throat and let myself bleed out on the floor, and like that's how I was going to survive. You should keep that in.
Of course it's going to be kept in.
All of that is going to be in.
I don't know how
Want
I
it
got
all
here, guys.
in.
Sorry.
It doesn't hit my back walls and let it's all in.
So on that note, Alexandra, what are your thoughts?
There are obvious differences between social sexual and social self-pres. Like I feel like as a social self-pres type, I am more, especially compared to social sexual, I feel much more uptight, and I feel much more like pleasure is not a focus on my social navigations, not at least for the beginning. Like it's going at it with this sort of like air of seriousness and air of like, are you with it or are you not? Because if you're not, get out of my way. I don't care how fun you are. You need to be with it or not. And then once we're with it, then we can like enjoy each other.
With what?
With like, I guess I was writing some of the things down that David said. Okay, super ego of personality, super relate to that. There is, like I said, there is a sense of like responsibility sometimes that I feel that makes me very uptight in social spaces. Because I don't know, it is a little difficult for me to just like let loose. I can do it, but when I'm like meeting new people, there is a certain level of like sizing a person's level of seriousness up. And then if I don't feel that, there's almost like, I don't really care how good a time I'm going to have with you. If I don't feel that you're serious, I'm just kind of not interested.
And when you say serious, you mean like on serious about certain matters that are important, like either some like give us some examples for yourself and how you judge people in terms of their seriousness.
Like if I think a person is just this is all going to sound so judgy.
How did you judge us? How did you judge us in this group in terms of our
how did you judge us?
I love judgment. Let's talk about judging people.
Okay, so a lot of it is like, what do you have to contribute? Like, what are you here doing? Like, are you like with you guys, you provide a lot of insight, and you provide a lot of you're contributing in a way that is making things better, that is like improving something. Like if it was just all like frivolity and fun and cocktail parties and stuff like that, I would be less, how do I say it?
She wouldn't be interested at all.
Self-pres
I would be
is
less
seriousness.
interested.
Self-pres has a weight to it that's serious. Like, what are we actually establishing?
Yeah, it is like what is the direction forward? If it's just like for now and then nothing, and there's nothing to like, there's no like legacy almost, that's a powerful word, but like if there's no legacy behind it, then I'm almost like, this is dumb. I'm have stuff to do.
What stuff?
Yeah, Joseph, what the fuck? What do you think about legacy?
I don't do those words. Like I don't know what that means. No, I'm not even trying to be like whatever. I don't. It's an interesting. I was listening and I'm thinking, and I don't. And I have a lot of super ego in my typing too. So it's not the lack of super ego.
Yeah.
I don't think about that. The first thing I think about when I meet a person is, are they fun? Are you interesting? Nope, bye. Like it's so fast. Like the person bores me within 30 seconds, and I'm like, nope. Like and it's not that I'm not a shallow person. It's not that I agree with Alexandra in the sense that it's like, yeah, sure, I don't want this to be meaningless. I don't actually like partying. Like I don't go to parties.
Right.
But it's still just like, are you immediately hooking my interest, and am I feeling the hook of me on you too? Are we immediately like, I use that metaphor of throwing the ball back and forth, but it's like, ooh, we're playing a game, let's go. And if that's not happening, I'm just like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like you're not entertaining me, so why are we talking like this? And it's like, if there's something we're supposed to be doing, something serious, like you were like, I have things to do, I'm just like, I want to take those things and just throw them off the table onto the ground. Like I don't care, It's very and this may just be my kind of like I'm not part of anything bullshit too, but I think it's partially the stacking, because I know that when I sit down with other social sexual people, and they could be like the quietest 9 or the loudest 7 or whatever, there's an instant like, you're entertaining, I'm entertaining, oh my god, we're best friends. It's almost, I think of social sexual, I don't know if I said this on our episode, but it's almost stuck in adolescence. It's like okay, like I would meet somebody at work, and I work in a very like stuffy, super ego environment, and I'll be like, oh, there's a social sexual 7 in this class, like a staff member or whatever, and it'll literally just be like, hey, and we'll start talking within 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, so I'll meet you upstairs for lunch. Let's eat lunch together. Are you going out for recess? Like, I'm going to go out with you. We're going to hold hands all day and walk around and be best friends. And from now on, when I'm in this building, you need to be beside me. Like, it's sort of like, like kids are always like, am I going to get to sit beside my friend? Like, who am I sitting beside on the bus? It's stupid, but that is sort of a social sexual, because what else is there? What else are we doing? Like, the second that I hook up with a social sexual at work, I'm not working anymore.
And that recalls my other schema, the overlaps with, of course, social sexual is 7-ish and social self-pres is 1-ish. And there it is right there. It's got, social sexual's got the entertainment, it's got the youthfulness, that whole kind of attitude. And then social self-pres is like, what are we doing for social order and structure?
There is like a future focus versus a present focus that I feel like is another part of the difference. Like with social sexuals,
That's true.
I do feel like their priority is like, yeah, it's like right here. We're enjoying ourselves right here and now. Da 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 da. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy that or that I can't be present and stuff like that. But especially in meeting new people, I am like, even if we're having a bunch of fun, I'm looking at like, where is it going? What are we doing in the future?
Yeah, like like trying to secure social resources, whereas I'm like, it's here right now, which is kind of more sexual. It's like, let's undress, let's go. What are we going to do later? It's happening now, right? Yeah.
So wait, Joseph, you don't think, I guess you don't think in the future in terms of this person that you're having a good time with, you're not necessarily thinking that they have any personality traits that are going to be a problem down the line? Are you like assessing people in the beginning in terms of problematic traits?
Oh,
besides,
absolutely. I mean, I hate 99% of people, and when I meet them, I'm usually judging them and disgusted by them instantly. But I guess just what I'm saying is that more so in the moment when the first thing I think is, do I want to be talking to this person? Are they entertaining me? And then if they are, it's a sort of sexual thing. Like I just slip into it. Like you're lost now. Like you're in this, you guys are talking. You're always like, it's just, you're kind of in this person's orbit and you're just going. Not in the kind of loss. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to make it sound 9-ish. But yeah, like it's like that's the focus. But no, I'm always judging it if things come up in the moment that make me think, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounded like Alexandra was talking more about like, because when we talked this on our episode, she was like talking about, do I have social connection? Like almost like, I was going to say hoes in different area codes, but that is social sexual. So not that, but like, am I securing people? Like, is this going to last? Are we doing a right now thing? Or am I securing, like, am I stowing something away over there, like, you know, putting canned goods in the cupboard, and that feels good, like social canned goods in the cupboard. Whereas I'm not really. I'm losing my train of thought. Does anyone
Well,
wanna?
yeah, I think what I'm trying to get at is that each of the social stackings is discriminating early on,
Mhm.
but what happens with sexual second, it seems like there has to be that hooking thing for you, Joseph, and so
Yeah.
it can really go from 0 to the 60 real quick. Once
Yes.
someone's made it through the initial filter, you can be like, oh, we're super close now. Whereas that necessarily isn't happening with social self-pres. That accelerator isn't
Yes.
of closeness isn't happening.
An
But one thing
accelerator of closeness. Yeah.
yeah, one thing I'm curious, because you guys both have friends who are of this opposite stacking. Like you, Joseph, you have a close friend who's social self-pres, I believe, right?
I do. Yeah.
And Alexandra, you've got a friend who's social sexual.
Mhm.
So like what have you noticed in the way that you relate to people that have this opposite stacking, that you like or you dislike?
Oh, I mean, that's a super easy question for me. Social sexuals help me just get with it like pretty fast. And I guess I said that earlier, so I should clarify what I mean by get with it. They help me loosen up immediately.
Mm.
There is this like disarming endearingness that I can just like, oh, okay, I can be here for right now. And then once like we're done enjoying each other and I'm off by myself again, I can assess things then.
Mm.
Like for example, this friend that I had, we met at work, and we were just like work pals. We were just, would laugh a lot, annoy other people, get in trouble together a lot because we were always talking. And then eventually it did become this sort of out of work relationship where I was able to see like, oh, this is a really long lasting, this does have like real staying power. This is like we are aligned in like important places. She does take things, for the most part seriously. um it was one of those, yeah. So I don't know if that answers the
Well,
question.
I want to add, like, from knowing Alexandra and a lot of my friends being social self-pres, it's not just I think somebody listening would get the sense of like it has to be contributing to the betterment of society for this to be important.
Mhm.
Right.
And I don't I mean, maybe some people, but I don't experience that like with Alexandra. Like Alexandra is very playful and fun and stuff like this, but she's always got a sense of like, does this person like really like care about what's really important? Like, where's do they
Yeah.
have a sense of meaning? Like,
Mhm.
do they?
Yeah, that is
It's
that
like,
is a good. Oh, go ahead.
so, well, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, yeah, it's like is there a meaning here? Is there a way that they're like yeah, they're having fun, but they're like devoting themselves to something that isn't just frivolousness or isn't just
Mhm.
pleasure or isn't just superficiality. And so like, I mean, I don't have like, besides y'all online, like I these days I basically just hang out with Alexandra. We have a lot of fun. But we both joke that we're like even though we're kind of unconventional in our own ways, like that we're super trad. Uh,
Mhm.
Mhm.
like we're both secretly super trad, and I mean, and we love that. But
Mhm.
there's that sense, self-pres sense of like something like lasting or real or meaningful, or like,
Mm.
when shit gets really ugly and bad
Right.
and dark, like what's gonna still stay there? That's with the shine is
Yeah.
all gone.
Mhm. Yeah. Who's gonna really weather the storm with you?
Hmm.
And I'll say too, to what is gonna add to that is, yeah, you're right. I'm probably making myself sound really unapproachable and really like I am just like bitch facing in the corner, which sometimes is true. But I do have
Sometimes.
I was gonna say.
All the time.
RBF.
Yeah. But being socially motivated, I do get in there fast. But my motivation is to try to tease out the self-pres element, I guess. Is like I'm like in there talking to people, trying to like find where we connect, quickly. And I think, and obviously a social sexual is going to be doing the same thing. So oh my gosh. So both social types might possibly have a similar approach and may look similar in their approach, but the underlying drive I think is different. Like
Hmm.
social sexuals is like looking for the juice and the sexual part of it, and I'm looking for the structure, for the staying power, for like how long is this going to last. But in the meantime, still trying to make connections, still trying to see where it is, still trying to like enjoy each other, whatever.
Last
Does
night,
that make any sense?
yes,
Mhm.
Okay.
last night, Alexander and I went to see Dune with Courtney.
Mm.
And fucking amazing, but that's like
Mhm.
so social self-pres. And like one of the things about like each planet or whatever, and each like house or kingdom or whatever is like they have all these like ceremonies, like it's like this is very important, and like, and so the emperor commands it, kind of a thing. And it's that sense, like I could see like one of the sufferingness of that realm is being stuck in trying to make something important without any like the sexual flame.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like in the Dune, like there's all these like sort of ceremoniousness. It's like it's like this is very ceremonial and this is granted by this, but you can feel like kind of like
The pointlessness, or
yeah, without
Well,
without
the dryness. Yeah.
it's very dry, right?
Yeah, and just like the lack of, I mean, I'm literally saying the same thing. I was going to say the lack of moisture, which is the same thing as dry. But
That's a lack of juice.
All I'm
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about is
the lack-
vaginas right now.
yeah.
Really, no, really,
some
'cause,
serious chafing.
Because, like, I mean, it's not spoiling anything, but like the main character Paul is like goes to a desert planet out of this like social self-pres bullshit he's in,
Right, duty.
and
Yeah.
he's pulled into the desert pursuing these dreams he's having of a woman.
So it's about
the
vaginas.
dry place.
Yes.
So it's
Dry
about
place
vagina.
No, it's cool. Like they have these like the desert people called the Freemen have these like rituals. Like they greet each other by spitting because it's like I'm offering the sanctity of my body's moisture, like because
Wow.
there's so little here, and
Mm,
so it's
damn,
very cool.
I didn't even catch that. Yeah, that's good.
So Joseph, what's your
I got a couple
Hey.
of thoughts.
Hey.
I'm going to steer the conversation of penises. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So what you said about like, you, Alexander, were talking about your friend at work and we're laughing and getting in trouble, totally, again, plays into my like social sexual adolescence thing. I feel like when you start talking to a social sexual, you're like, oh my God, I'm in high school again. Like people
Totally.
are looking
Oh,
at
yes.
us. And, you know what I'm talking about? That feeling of like, oh, we're just having fun and like nothing matters. Like, as long as the teacher doesn't see us, we don't have to think about any of that boring stuff. Like it's very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then some other things that just I was thinking about when you were talking, because you were talking about like, does this have staying power? And so to me, there's a big I think I want these things to last too, but there's a difference between does this have staying power and a drug addiction. Like I want this person again, right? It's a sexual, like I can I keep going? It's like, do I have drug dealers in different spots? Can I go back to that person when I need them? Okay, you're not available next. Who can I call? Like, you know what I mean? It's very like, so I'm still looking for making sure that I have those resources available. But yet, like, as you said,
It's
the
a hit.
motivation, it's a hit. Yeah, the motivation is, and it's not, again, it's not even, I want depth too. But like, so I have a friend who's social self-pres 926. And she, to me, it's like having a friend with like one of the Greek gods who lives on Mount Olympus. I never know when she's going to pick up. I never know, like, you know what I mean? And when she's with me, she's completely with me and absorbed with me. But then it's just like, oh, my family's coming over. Like my cousins from Italy that I've never seen are coming over. So like I have to be there. Like, do you know what I mean? And there's all this other kind of obligation. Like all of my people, my canned goods, I have to go and attend to them. And I'm just like, yeah, but if you called me, I'd get a hit of that drug and you would too. So why aren't you doing that? Like, don't I attract you? Like there's a hurt because you're like, didn't we have enough fun? Didn't I attract you enough? Didn't I give you enough juice or whatever? But you're choosing to go do your duty, and that sort of doesn't make sense to me. So that's what it feels like for me to have a social self-pres friend.
Yeah, so there's a kind of distance that comes with social self-pres, because it's got that, it's like John was saying, it's ceremonial almost.
Yeah.
When I'm out drinking, I turn a bit social, and I find that a lot.
Sometimes I dip into just outside of self-pres.
Sometimes I am not a self-pres 3. It's very rare.
I dabble.
I dabble. Back in the days when bars were still open, I would almost every time I'd go out drinking, I would have like a social sexual try to like attach to me. Like it's a very common experience. It's usually women or gay men, because I don't talk to straight men. And It's the same. I mean, it's
Mhm.
unnecessary, truly. So they would try to attach to me, and then I would enjoy them. They would enjoy me, but they would not understand that, like, that is not my everyday. And
Yeah,
I
you have
have
to go
hurt.
home and be
Yeah,
yourself. Yeah,
exactly. I have
and not
hurt.
text them. Yeah.
Yep. No, I literally do not. My best friend, my absolute best friend. I talk to her maybe 3 times a year.
Oh yeah,
Um,
me too.
like literally. So I've hurt so many people's feelings, and I've had so many friends be like, "Why don't you love me?" And I'm like, "I what? What is this?" And so this is explaining a lot because I think they attach to me and they don't realize what they're getting.
And
Mm.
Yeah,
they attach to the inebriated you, the drug
exactly.
infused,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
it's got that sexual instinct high.
Right. And I'm
I've
like,
had to
that's not me.
yeah, no, and this is I have many, many friends who are, let's say, self-prosocial, right? Obviously, but it's something that I've had to learn. Like, yes, your friend at work likes to talk to you, who's a self-pres one wing nine, and you really like her, but like she has to go do her work now. Like she has to mark tests or she has to do something. So when she like doesn't want to talk to you, it doesn't mean like yes, she's choosing some self-pres responsibility over the drug that you offered her. But that's okay. Like you should probably go do that too. You know what I mean? But it's like
Mm.
I've it's taken me. I'm in my 30s, and it's taken me so long to be like these people do love me and they do care about me, but to understand that this lack of kind of like the sexual instinct following social is kind of like, and I've seen like my ex who was a very very mute social sexual nine, but it was the same thing. Like I'm pushy, he's not, but like he would literally just sit there and be like, I one friend didn't text me back and I like wanted to hang out with her, or like nines just kind of sit there and wait for like life to show up for them, and it didn't,
Yeah.
because all of his friends were self-pres social nines. So nobody would come and like, do you know what I mean? Like, and he'd just
Yeah.
be like, but I did my hair cool and I wore a cool outfit and you
Aw.
don't want to see me again. You know what I
Aw.
mean? It would just, and so he would be so upset. I mean, there's like a nine problem there too, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like I offered you a drug and we had something together, right? Like David, you said, like the inebriated version of you. Um,
Hmm.
I don't understand what you're doing over there in that dirt hole, but like I'm up here.
And I'm
With your
over.
responsibilities and
Yeah,
Right.
like
just
And
ignore
I'm
them.
over here
plans.
just so
This
confused as
the
to why
drug
everyone is
thing,
so mad at me.
because the drug thing, the thing about drugs is that they destroy you and they override all responsibility. If you
Yeah.
have that hook, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, it's part of being an adult, but like really, like if I'm at work and I'm like, okay, I had to mark tests today, I really should mark them today. But if there's a conversation that hooks me, I'm literally like, I'd rip the test up. I don't care. Like I'll figure it out. Like I don't, there'll be some boring time later that I'll do that. Not now.
How do you
Mm.
function?
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
Partially, it's no, it's hard, and partially, I mean, I have a competency type and a competency wing that probably kind of helps
Oh
me.
yeah,
Like,
that's true.
I actually have pretty strict rules about how I want my life to be. So it's like, I like things clean. So I'm gonna clean, because I want to. Um, but no, yeah, sometimes it's hard. It's again, I'm in my 30s and now I'm like, okay, I can't sort of do that anymore. Like, and also the other thing is that like, again, 90% of the time there's no decent drug to distract me, so I end up doing shit because I'm like bored out of my, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's so rare, but if it happens, you know what I mean? I get a phone call or somebody wants to hang out. It's like, okay, drop it. I don't care. Like drop everything. It doesn't matter if that's. I mean, I hate everybody, but if it's somebody like, okay, I like that drug. I want that thing. I will just drop everything and go.
So I have a question for both stacking representatives here. And, I think that the social instinct really is seeking a kind of intimacy, but they have different approaches to it and different metrics for it. And like I have the experience of, being with Alexandra, and I've never been more intimate with a person in my whole life, and like more heartfelt and more connected on that level. And even though as a social self pres, she's got, that social pres reputation of being distant and aloof. And so like I have plenty of social self-presence that I feel that way, that there's like almost like an impenetrable distance and a loftiness, and also with social sexuals that I've had in my life where I can feel very replaceable with them. Um,
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so how and I think that that is a thing. Like I'm not like not everybody is on the equal level. From a social point of view, like some people you're really close people, and some people more distant. But how do you guys seek experience intimacy, and then how do you think your stackings might facilitate or undermine that,
Um,
or is that even something you want?
oh, it's definitely something I want. I was going to say earlier that I think using staying power as like a self-pres thing was unfair, because I do think like us both being social dominance, that is obviously like the space that we hold sacred and the space that we're trying to maintain and keep, and the space we always want to be in. We want it secure. And I think just the way that we're supporting, or we're going about acquiring that and keeping that space, is through the middle instinct. So there's social sexual that's kind of sexualizing the social instinct and making it sparkly, making it juicy, and infusing it with like these addictive qualities, in order to keep the social connection going. And I think like as a self-pres middle, myself, I'm trying to keep it, I'm trying to put it on this pedestal, um, that is focused and that is like undistracted. Me being sexual blind, it's like no, all that like fun shit has to be put away. I need to present in a way that people know that if they come to me, they're going to be taken seriously, and that I can be taken seriously. Anyway, so there was something I now I'm kind of riffing, but like there is staying power in all three instincts. And for example, me being social dominant, I am always applying this to relationships. I'm always applying like, how do I make this last as long as possible? How do I get this to like the quality of intimacy that I want it to be at, that is like fulfilling, and then how do we keep it? And of course, like assuming that everybody also wants that, you need all three instincts to do that. There is staying power in the social instinct, there's staying power in the sexual instinct, and there's staying power in the self-pres instinct.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And that's a really good point to make, because I see sometimes a lot of the ways that we manipulate the last or the blind spot instinct to see it as a threat, and to see that
Hmm.
that it doesn't have any sort of longevity or staying power. And the thing about sexual as a sexual type is that once you experience like a real strong chemistry with somebody, or like some kind of polarity with them, it feels like that's something that can go on forever. Like that dynamic
Hmm.
doesn't dissipate. And so a lot of times I see, some sexual blind to look at the sexual instinct as something that is risky, because
Hmm.
it seems like it's not something that has staying power. But all the instincts can be something you can build a foundation on. From
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
perspective of the person who has that instinct as their dominant instinct, it is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take this. This is kind of changing the subject, but I'm gonna go to the comparison that I see between the social types, the social dominance, and social middles. Because like I have seen in conversation and chats and online and stuff like that about social middles thinking that they're social dominance because they're very playful in that area.
Mm.
And so like this is maybe maybe something that could be like a fun idea, is having like dominant instincts shit on the middle instincts. Um but I think like the difference is that I do see, or not the difference, I do see the obvious craving for social self-pres and social sexuals for the social instinct. Did that make any sense at all?
Hmm.
I
Yeah, yeah.
see I see like the desire for it. And as opposed to the social middles, I kind of see them as like kind of what Nancy was saying, that when
Yeah,
she
this is
drinks,
true.
she gets a little social. And
Yeah.
so I think like as a social, like if I was in that situation as a social dominant, I would have taken Nancy at that time to be like, oh my God, here it is. This is going to be amazing. Whatever,
Yes.
whatever, whatever. And
Mm.
then when she flips back to self-pres, I'm going to be like, oh my God, but what the fuck? I was just like I just got exactly the hit that I wanted and needed and like am desperate for, and now it's just gone. So I do I get from social middles sometimes I can have this kind of like stop fucking around with my whole life.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah,
being
yeah.
so casual and
Aw.
just like
I think
nothing about it.
well,
And I'm
I
not talking to specifically to you, Nancy, but I do
Yeah, I know.
see some
I
people.
will not stand for you picking on Nancy.
That's
that's
acceptable right now.
that's sometimes what John's talking about. I think when he's shitting on social sexual or sexual middles is
Oh
because
yeah, oh totally.
sexual
Oh yeah.
is religion.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you're going to be frivolous with it,
How
that's like
dare you?
blasphemous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes
yeah.
sense.
I've sometimes been, not sometimes, I'm often very jealous of specifically, because I don't know too many sexual socials, but specifically self pres socials at how easy they can have like exchange like 3 sentences. And then they're like, oh, let's have them over for dinner. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't know that person yet. You haven't
Mm,
connected. And so there's this like anger and maybe jealousy. I don't know, something when I see that,
mm,
because it's like, I know you don't have it yet. And you don't even know you don't have it. Treat it fucking seriously. It's that thing
mhm.
of like, this is how are you satisfied by that? That's not it. And
Yeah,
I do think that social sexuals also maybe feel that way too. It's just they have a different way of going about it that also is very playful, but it's still taken seriously to them, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is completely true. Yeah, I have a few thoughts on things that you said. Well, actually, I mean, going back to John, you said about like social sexuals making you feel expendable. So this is something like I actually like. Again, I'm very when I love people, I love them and they're in my life, and I'm very.
Hmm.
But I've told like I remember being in high school. And I tell my friend, okay, we're gonna go see this movie together. And like the next day, I saw it with someone else because she wasn't available. And someone else was like, hey, you want to see this movie? And I was like, oh my god, yeah. Like so I just was like, okay, there's like I'm whatever. Like I have another dealer. Like get over it. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
so and also even just right now, like I've been going through a breakup recently, which is terrible, and it wasn't my choice, and I've had to deal with the pain of losing somebody that I love. But it's about a month and a bit later, and I don't want to say that I'm just like okay, but I'm kind of just like as long as I'm getting hits
Hmm.
elsewhere, I'm kind of okay. Like I'm gonna kind of find what I need. And I can get excited. Like part of sexual is that like ooh like novelty, like somebody slipped a nip and I saw it and like okay that's new, that's different. Let me walk towards that. So there's something about that too. Um, I was also going to comment on you were talking about. It's true. Like social middles. Sometimes social middles make me feel the most like blue balls when it comes to
Hmm.
social.
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
actually have a lot of social blind friends, and I love them because it's like they have sexuals, so they're doing the drug thing, and they don't care. Like they'll be like, yeah, whatever you want to talk on the phone for 8 hours, like that's fine. I don't care. They're just like it doesn't mean anything. And they don't put any pressure in the social realm. But social middles, it's like hello, like yeah, exactly what you said, like how is this enough for you, like we
Yes.
just did something, like this just meant so much to me. It's just like okay, I have to go do laundry, and I'm just like I will burn your fucking clothes, who cares, you know what I mean, like so that's that and I again I don't have any experience with sexual social, but I'm talking more about self-press social where yeah
Oh,
it's like
sorry, Nancy.
how did
It's okay.
no, I mean, and
It's true.
I have how many
This is
people in my life
100%
do I
accurate.
love? It is, yeah, like I love so many people who are self-pres social, but it does, again, I have to make sure, like, I have to be like, oh, right, there's that wall. Like my friend who I was talking about who's social self-pres, when we're together, there's no wall. Like, it's like, I
Mm,
don't, you know
yes.
what I mean? She gives me
Yes.
so much of her attention and care, and it means so much to her. Um, she just has other obligations. But with self-pres social, it's literally like you're sitting right across from me, but like doing, you're not fully giving yourself to me in some way. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. I get really anxious around social dominance when they are like exist in a space near me on a day in day out basis, because I'm like I can feel you expecting things from me right now and I cannot give you that. So I have to set very hard boundaries with my socials. And once I do, I'm fine. But I'm just like, I need you to understand that this is not a daily thing.
Yeah, there is something to that. I think, David, I remember you being a sexual middle speaking to that a little bit. And then here, like you said something like, I hear John and Emeka talk about their sexual dominancy. And I'm just like, chill out, like, relax, guys. It's like,
Yeah, let's have fun here.
fucking
Yeah,
relax.
it's fun. It's just like I don't need to worry about that. If I want to make somebody juiced up on me, I can pull that out of my pocket like nothing.
Right.
One thing
So
I'm
funny.
realizing that just listening to the last series of calls is just how similar the dominant instincts are, even with different secondaries. Like,
Mhm.
like when it really comes down to it, it is all about that dominant instinct. I mean, you have
Mhm.
secondary tools to meet those
Yes.
needs, but like if you have self press second, it's like you're using self press tools to solidify the connection, and then with social sexual, they're using attraction tools to solidify the connection. But it's like when it comes down to it, I used to think, oh, maybe self-pres sexual and sexual self-pres are really similar, but it's like, nah, like that self-pres first instinct is everything. It's just the
Mhm.
sexual second is that play zone where you try to get those needs met.
Mhm.
So yeah, like social self-pres and social sexual are really similar when it comes down to it. It's just like the way you're going about it's different, but the core needs are the same at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's nice to, yeah, like I have a lot of self-pressed sexuals in my life, and there's something about that sexual middle that I find, I don't know, enjoyable. Like it's just so, it's like, oh, you understand that this is that fun place. Like we can have fun there, and it's just, you know what I mean. I said
Yeah.
it's interesting because I said I feel almost a similar thing when I sit down with a self-pressed sexual. There's a guarded wall, so we're not doing that closeness intimacy, but that kind of, there's still something. There's a bit of nudity
Yeah.
like in a way. It's I don't know if you feel this, Alexandra, but I actually feel, well, maybe different stacking, but I feel more easily close to self-pressed sexual than I do to self-pressed social. Like with self-pressed social, it's just social nicety or something, like where I'm like, my sacred thing is the thing that you don't give a shit about, and that bothers me.
Yes. Yes.
You know, whereas with
Yeah.
social last, it's like they don't care at all. So that's almost kind of nice because you're like, I'll do all the
Yes.
social and you're just with me. And there's something about it that I don't know, but when I sit down with self-pressed sexual, I feel more connected to them easily. And there are definitely times where they're talking or I'm talking and they're not listening to me or looking at me. They don't even know where they are or whatever, like that there's a person across from them, but they're still
Yes, I
engaging
relate.
with me somehow, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I remember, David, I remember the first call I ever had, just like one-on-one with you. I remember going into it, I was like, I'm social blind. Is this going to be, what the fuck is this going to be like? And it was what, like 3 hours or something like that. It was just like the longest, easiest conversation that just like kept going. And as opposed to, so before John and I got together, I was with a self-pres social, and one of the issues that we kept running into was, Joseph, you said blue, is that what you said? You said blue balls?
Social blue balls.
I did, yeah.
Social blue balls, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I did.
And that is
Trademark.
like a thing of kind of how I felt, because I would see how like easily satisfied he was with with his like social instinct, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, how is it not clear that we need more than this? Like, how is it not clear that this needs to be way deeper than it is? It was just kind of like, oh, cool. Like we sat across from each other at a dinner table. She must be fine. No, I'm not fine. I need way more than that. Anyway, yeah. So that's
He went and got it.
oh, yes, I sure did.
Much more than she bargained for.
Uh-huh.
One thing I was thinking of, because of the way the different stackings are arranged on the Bhavachakra. So the social stackings are up in the sky with sexual social, and sexual self-pres has the two self-pres stackings flanking it. It feels like everyone at the top, like if you have a stacking that's in the sky, that there's something about pairing up with someone who is underground that could be a good
That's
polarity.
interesting.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Well, there's something, I mean, the self-pressed social thing is almost like I like surfing, so I'm just gonna go and like hang out with a bunch of people who are surfing, and I care about the surfing, but like I guess I'll just meet a bunch of people while I'm there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's like not even, it's like indiscriminate, like what? Like
Indiscriminate is the word I would use. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, like you don't even know, like that's like mind-boggling to me, because I think even with social self-pres, there definitely is a sense of distance, but when you sit, like I don't know, yeah, the social self-pres is still searching for something specific in that
Mhm.
realm. And so when you find it, you lock on and it's sacred, it's important. With
Oh
self-pres
yeah.
social, it just sort of feels like, yeah, like I have some friends that like I have at work, and then I have like people over there, and then there's this friend, and yeah, we never talk, but like she's my best friend.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, what the hell are you doing?
Yes,
Like
that
I
is.
just, it's, you know.
You're welcome.
Is it
Yeah.
that self-press social, at least it feels like to me, self-press social friendships can come from these shared activities, like either people you played sports with or you worked with and that you were just around. Like the
Yeah,
whole
absolutely.
Yeah.
idea of
There you go.
like The Office, that show.
Totally.
Mhm.
That's like
Mhm.
relationships
Yeah.
that come out of
Yes.
working together, and that sort of work drama seems like SPSO world.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I was
I'm
going to
done.
say, like, the people that I'm pursuing as friendships, there's this sense of like, who am I going to break bread with? Like, who am I going to like? Who am I going to go self-press for? Basically,
Right.
it is this sense of like communion and ceremony, I guess, to reference what John was saying earlier.
That seems
Um,
really intense.
It is really intense. Oh, it's totally really intense. And
Yeah.
again, this is one of the jealousies that I have with social middle, because I see how like easily acquired it seems to be. And I'm just like, how am I so lonely? How do I feel
Yes,
so lonely
exactly.
and unsatisfied all the time? And these people are just like casually, like
Yeah.
you just call 7 people up that you barely know and have a great time with them.
Yeah,
And
that
it's like,
I
what the
don't
fuck?
understand. Like
I like
oh,
Yeah, like I only want people that I can like bare my soul to, that I can like
yes.
cry to, that will hold all the precious parts of me. And if it's not that, I'm like, we can work around each other, but I'm not gonna like, what's the point?
Yeah. What is the point? That's it. What are we doing? Like it feels like such a strange, shallow experience or something. And again,
So,
I have close friendships with social people,
oh
but
yeah, me too. Mhm.
yeah, exactly. It's what is the point? What are we doing? Oh, I just called up my friends. Oh, I'm gonna go. Oh, like the self-pres social cottage weekends. Like, yeah, me and 700 other people, we like rented a cottage on this lake, and we all went canoeing, and like, unless you had an orgy, don't tell me any more of the story. Like,
Oh, you guys, I don't get this. Okay. Some of my favorite like ways to spend my social energy, like I don't often have social energy, let's be real. But some of the times that I have it and the way I want to spend it is kind of with like frivolous, let's just go get coffee. It's easy. I am going to see you for an hour and then I'm going to leave. And we're not going to discuss the weight of the universe. We're just going to discuss, how our weeks went. Just kind of like, you don't ever have that.
No.
absolutely not. That sounds
I have
terrible.
that.
Yeah,
I have
I don't.
that in passing with people at work. Like, oh, how's your weekend? And it's just like, I would rather kill myself than have this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
Like, I
about
don't
how my
care about your
weekend
weekend.
went. Yeah.
So
I
wait,
used to-
Nancy,
Mhm.
Nancy, is that like you consider those people acquaintances or they're like actual friends?
I would consider them friends.
Okay.
If I
But
want to hang out
friends
with
that-
you at all, you're a friend.
Okay. But you
Oh.
just have, like conversations about like just life, how it's
Right.
going.
I have tiers of friends. Right.
Tell us about your tears, please.
Where am I?
You?
At
See,
the
you
bottom.
guys kind
That's-
of are a weird tier though, because I never really see you, but I bare my soul to you. So it's kind of like you guys are a separate, you're not on the tier system.
Sounds pretty social to me.
We did it,
use,
fellas.
like-
We transcended the tiers.
Yeah.
Yes.
All you bitches have social and you're doing it every week, and then you're saying I'm social all the time. Fuck all of you.
We're just doing
That's
social.
so
We don't give a
true.
fuck about it though. We're doing it, but
They
we
just
don't care.
never think.
Sacrilege.
They
All right,
never
I'm leaving.
think.
I want to point out Joseph doing social sexual in this call. Social
totally.
social blue balls, and unless you had an orgy, I don't want to hear about it.
No,
Yeah,
Joseph's
exactly.
absolutely right.
The
Like,
most
he-
sexual.
well, it's played, and that's a sexual middle too. I find that even self.
Oh yeah,
totally,
do
yeah.
that.
that's what I mean.
Just
Yeah.
like I have a dick in my pocket. Here it is. Whoop! Like it's just like total.
I've got one dick in my pocket.
It's dick in a box.
Yeah. It's just, and also social sexual does like, hey guys, like we're all friends, so we should have our own language. Let's like make up
Yeah.
nicknames for each other. When I was
Oh
in
my
high school, I
God.
had. Oh yeah, no. Even in elementary school, like if I was, it would be like recess, and like if there were 2 recesses where I was with the same people, I was like, guys, what are we called?
Oh my God.
Because like we're a unit now, and it's not about like
exhausting.
it's, but it's like it's fun. It's just kind of like, okay, like
It is
you know,
fun.
we need to like have a crest, like a badge of arms. Let's design it. Like who's gonna be on it? Who's the president? Me. Okay.
Oh my
Like you know what I
God.
mean? Just it's all like. Again, I say I'm making myself sound like a teenager, and I'm really not. If anybody knows me, I'm actually like a stick in the mud. But there is something with social sexual and just like all that stupid stuff that teenagers do, and they sort of get stuck there. Yeah.
Did you name the Enneagram or Dark Arts Academy?
No, that was actually Emeka.
Emeka, you did that? Isn't that? I was going to tell me that's a Harry Potter thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. But
Yeah, it's very.
Sure.
Alexandra, you
Oh,
ruined it. I wasn't
sure.
gonna tell
That
them.
name sounds really social. I'm not gonna say anything. I just like it. We're gonna go with it.
I mean, I like it, but I just thought like, oh, okay, this is what they're naming it. Oh, the Dark Arts Academy, and then I was just like, oh, that's a Harry Potter thing, and I was like, oh,
I had no
I didn't-
knowledge of that.
Yeah, that's
Well,
yeah, we didn't
really-
advertise for that. We got to do that in David's Trifix thing.
yeah, we got to do that.
I was like, oh,
I mean,
accidentally
it's-
getting a
That's Harry
niche
Potter,
market.
but you have to do some social, right? Like the 3 of us have learned that I've been kind of forcing social for year after year, and it's just kind of like you have to like this. It is a social exercise to get people into a membership. So
I love that Emeka
that's true.
stumbled into a Harry Potter reference.
I know, like
Yeah,
I think part of
Dudley
like,
Monk.
I think
Yeah.
part of like naming stuff is I mean, we're all 3 working on it, so it has to be a name that's somehow triangulates on everything.
yeah, exactly.
You know, so like I wouldn't call something academy, but that's a Joseph word. So
It's a me word. Yeah.
It works just for
Yeah.
It has
That's
to be
really funny.
flippant, enough for me not to be ashamed of it, but also
Well, now you're
professional
ashamed of
enough.
it, so.
We should tell that the story of when I had my ex work on our logo, right? And so it was the 3 of us, whatever it was, a couple of years ago, trying to make this logo work, and we're all 4-fix like bitches. So it was like, how is this aesthetic gonna work? But it was very much just like, like me and another social sexual like presenting something, and then being like, it's a little bright. And it'd be like, okay, I need colors in this. And they're like, what about like the color of like a bruise, like death? And I was like, okay, like we were sitting there trying to balance. If you look at the logo now, you see this like perfect combination of like blurry social blind like death with like social sexual sparkle.
That's good. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I didn't know the story behind that.
Yeah, I mean, we had to like think of, because David's got 7-4, I've got a 7 wing with the 4-fix, so there's a color scheme that integrates all the colors that we like, and I think we
It
found
is very
like
7-4.
somebody's collage who kind of embodied that color scheme, and then we gave Joseph's ex-boyfriend the collage to sort of seed the color scheme for the logo, and it came out. I mean, we made some adjustments, of course, but it came out pretty nice.
Yeah, it's great.
One thing I wanted to get into is the social sexual versus social self-pres viewpoint on ideology or politics. Like, I know some social sexual types that still do care about that realm, but can you guys talk about like your relationship to politics or ideology and what you've noticed in contrast to the other social stacking?
I mean, I can say right away, like I don't remember where I said this, and I think Joseph and I mentioned it in the episode that we did together. But I see social self-pres are the ones in office and the ones in like in protests and stuff like that, like leading movements, either on like what do I say, like for the empire or for the rebellion, basically, is social
Mm-hmm.
self-pres. And it's like Martin Luther King, it's Malcolm X, it's Hitler, if you want to see the other side of that. And then I think social sexual, and Joseph, you can take over, is the more, how do we get everybody involved? Like, how do we make this like a sexy thing for people to want to be involved in? So that's where you have like all the rappers and all, like Tupac is a social sexual, and
Mm-hmm.
it was very well known for speaking
That's true.
towards like the matters that needed to be talked about.
Yeah, there's
Anyway,
something
that's what I got.
about being self-pres blind again that, like, if you're like, how do I put this? Again, if I use the metaphor of adolescence with social sexual, really, because it's seven-ish and like sevens are just kids, but like you do care about stuff. Like teenagers do care about stuff, but then it's just like, oh, can you believe you didn't text me in 3 days? Like you just you kind of you move away from it at a certain point, and do you have the necessary grounding to establish that you care about some kind of social movement for more than a week, that you're actually going to like again, doing things like being in office or protesting, it requires a sense of stability and a sense of grounding in something that isn't just going to slip away. Like John, again, the thing you said about being expendable, like there's something about social sexual where things just slip, go through, and so with self-pres second, it's like, I this is my thing, I care about this, I'm going to keep caring about this, and it's one-ish, right? Whereas with social
Mhm.
sexual, it's like, it's not that I don't care, it's just that I don't have the necessary, like, I'm not a bricklayer, I'm not going to sit there and go piece by piece to build what needs to be built. When you do those kinds of things, I don't have those resources available to me easily. That's kind of how I see
Mm-hmm.
it. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I see social sexual also as just like delivering it in a different way. Like Miley Cyrus is like very outspoken about her social causes, but she's just like, dancing around
Yeah,
and
that's
just
right.
like stirring up drama. And like I don't really know what
Mm.
the Dixie Chicks did, but I remember I don't know, some like naked thing that they did and everyone was really mad about it. I
No,
literally
they
know nothing
they
about
they
it.
criticized the war
But
in Iraq or something,
Yeah,
like
so
yeah,
really
there you
lightly.
go. And that feels like that felt like a kind of social sexual way of addressing a social cause. It's like the more playful, accessible, attractive, like shiny thing that will
making
appeal
it cool.
to, making it cool. That's perfect. Yeah. Making it
You-
cool. Whereas like the more boring, practical, like real on the ground pushing comes from
It's on the
social
ground,
self-pres.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you have to
So,
be on the ground to do those things, and that's something that
Right.
social sexual is not good at. Yeah, exactly.
so a good example is like AOC, who's is she a senator? She's a senator. Isn't she?
Congresswoman.
She's
Okay,
congresswoman.
congresswoman. And what she was able,
She's
the
a
kind of
badass.
attention, yeah, she was able
Mm-hmm.
to. She's a type 1, but she likely has a social sexual stacking. But
Mm-hmm.
look at like what kind of attention she was able to bring to those issues because of her ability to hook people on social media, and it does have like this young-ish
Mm-hmm.
quality to it where she is trendy, or she
Yeah,
is
well,
Mm-hmm.
what are they
Cool.
called?
Cool.
The squad or something? So it's like
Yeah.
yeah,
the cool
yeah,
kids.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And the
Again,
stuffy
adolescence.
self-pressers hate it.
So yeah, that's interesting to
Yeah,
look at,
called the
like
squad.
somebody who has social sexual, who is all about politics, how they're going about getting things done.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing because we were shitting on self-pres social for a bit. Is that shitting, anger, jealousy thing really does come from just an envy. It really does just come from a jealousy. And I do have self-pres social friends, and can and have close relationships with self-pres social. My sister is self-pres social, and so is my dad. And one thing that they do bring in having a social middle is they allow me to kind of relax the stakes. Like being social dominant, the social stakes are so high, it is just life or death. And if it's not hitting at exactly the right note, I assume I don't have it and that I'm just like being starved. So there is like a way that I
That's
can
true.
like relax and just like allow those stakes to be lower, and yeah, just kind of chill out.
Doesn't always have to hit her back walls.
It is envy. Envy is the spice of life, as we all know.
Right.
Well, it's because when you see somebody that is doing something that you care about so much, so effortlessly, it's sort of like a Salieri syndrome. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, oh my God, like,
Yes.
you know, how the fuck, like, you're, and then you're kind of down on yourself. You feel pathetic or whatever because you're like, why do I care about this so much? Like, why this is a
Aw.
me problem? You know what I mean? Because you're like, I'm the one that's, you know, or you're, I
Right.
think
What's wrong
you
with
mentioned,
me?
Alexander,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? And then why, like, it's the kind of, yeah, if I'm not getting what I need, I'm just going to stay home. But then you're like, but I'm lonely. And yeah, those 70 people are at the cottage, like doing whatever the fuck they're doing. Why can't I just kind of join in? And there's some forced stuff here too that I'm kind of, you know, but still it's just kind of like, you know, yeah, you do try to make yourself lower the stakes sometimes because it doesn't need to be all or nothing. And sometimes you do get a little spark when you talk about your weekend for a couple of minutes with some stupid nothing that you hate at work.
And sometimes it really can develop into like a close friendship, or into like a close social connection. It's just the approach is different, and when the
Yeah.
approach is not the same as mine, I just assume it's not available to me.
So, all of that is to say that the social blinds are the kings of the universe.
Oh my God, I
Kings of
fucking
the
knew you were going
universe.
to do this.
Little
my
isolated
God.
kings.
Oh, okay. So that reminds me of
I
that reminds
Kings with no ceremonies. Dig that.
Oh my
No
We don't-
kingdom. Who are your people?
yeah, for real. You're just
Kingdom of one.
heathens. Heathens is what you are. My last comment on because obviously John and I have opposite stacking. So I am social dominant, he is social blind, and he is sexual dominant, and I am sexual blind. One thing about that polarity that I think really works, because we mentioned this earlier, I think the reason that polarity can really work is because both sacred spaces of either party can keep their sacred space without someone like fucking with it, basically, without someone like undermining
That's
it.
interesting.
That's
how
a,
it
yeah, that's an
feels
interesting way to look at
sometimes.
it.
I said,
It's
how do
just
you
like
mean?
well, because like if
That's
I
true.
was sexual middle, you might be more,
Oh yeah.
you might like come at me harder because I'm just like playing around with your sacred zone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and so like we're playing around in the same zone that we don't care about, which is Nancy and
Well-
David's zone. So
well-
take that, guys.
Well, no, I mean, way I'd put it as this opposite. It's like we're both trad, and like, getting in touch with my social instinct with you, besides like your body and stuff like that. Like getting
Alright,
in touch
The
with
shea
social instinct,
butter.
bring yeah,
Shea butter on
Buttering her fruits.
buttering of fruits, koala fruits. Besides the butter of fruits,
Oh my God.
it's.
Come on, man.
Sorry, I'm
Sexual
losing my-
middle. Come on.
I'm losing my focus here.
God.
No, but like the social instinct, like enhances my sexual instinct and like makes it more complete. And I think bringing the sexual instinct to our relationship makes her social instinct feel much more
clear
deep and clear and touched and stuff. And then like I don't even like self-pres. Like yeah, we'll like eat out or whatever or butter fruits, but like there's a lot of like that. There's a meeting just like in the body, with each other. And Alexandra often references that capacity to just be in the same room with someone without needing to engage as like a real kind of metric for safety and intimacy, and like we can do that, or we can do that like just holding each other. And it's like we don't need to be like, hey, what's going on, or whatever. We don't need to be talking or something. But it's like I don't know, there's a really interesting thing there, because like I mean, before Alexandra brought up our differences, like I was just thinking about it'd be the kind of polarities that the Bhavachakra represents would be interesting to explore those in like detail.
There's a lot more to delve into with that symbol.
One thing about, just a quick comment about social and social blind working, because I've said this, and part of it is based on what Alexandra said. I mean, I don't think it works with every blind spot thing.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
With social and social blind, it works because it's almost like, why should there only be 1/8 in every room kind of thing? It's like socials are thinking about hierarchy and things, and they do kind of want to there is something about being the person who's doing that in a space and the other people don't care because it is your kingdom in a way. And there's something about social blinds don't care. If you have a bunch of social self-pres people in a room, it's just kind of like there's a clash of energy sometimes that's just aggravating. Why, we all care so much about this, but everybody has a different way. And social has a super ego element too. So we all have these different ways that you're supposed to do social. And I'm extraordinarily specific about how I think everybody should do social around me. And if there's somebody else that is that way too, I'm just going to be like, you piece of shit, right? So it's easier if somebody doesn't really care or like I give them some kind of social cue and they take it and yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You get to maintain your sacred spot.
Yeah.
Be in charge of it.
Yeah.
King Joseph.
King
Finally.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of sound bites from this one.
Like
Yeah, we got some good
balls
sound
and-
bites.
Yeah, I like that blue balls thing because like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how I
it's
feel
good.
with sexual middles.
There you go.
Yeah. I think we should do whatever you guys want. I think it would be fun for the dominant instincts to shit on the middle instincts with all three.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be fun because I get very irritated when people are frivolous with self-pres money.
But why? It doesn't matter.
Here we
You're
go.
Take
dumb.
that,
Money is
bitch.
nothing.
Dumb.
Oh, I gotta work my little job and make a little money for my little bank account. Gotta eat my food.
Guess who's
And
gonna
in my
balance
blankets,
their account
my
when they
pillows.
fuck up?
Money is
Cottage
boring
core.
unless you're spending it.
Oh, I gotta go to sleep now. Oh.
It's a Nancy
Shut
impression.
the fuck up.
All right. It'll be a boxing ring. Series
Yeah,
of boxing
it'll
ring
be fun.
matches.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Okay, is that it? Anything else?
Do your dinner, Nancy.
I will go eat my dinner. I can fucking smell it.
Self-press socials.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right,
Later.
guys, bye.